Hey everyone. All right, so I'm just going to make sure that I'm live in the group. Perfect. All right. Just wanted to make sure that that was working. So last time I was live, I was on my Wi-Fi. I now have a cable, so we should be all good to go. As you are coming in, if you could let me know that you could hear me just to make sure. Actually, I can pop it open right here. Live. Yes, perfect. All right. So earlier this morning, I asked you what questions that you have for me. What can I help you with when it comes to learning about essential oils? And you had some really good questions. I also sent out an email just to ask if anybody that's on my email list that is not on Facebook, if you had any questions for me, if I could answer them as well. And I had a couple questions over there too. So first, I'm going to go through the questions that you guys had here in this group in my question from a few hours ago. And if you are here live and you have questions, please feel free to leave your questions here as well. I'm just going to make sure my comments are up. Here they are. Perfect. So if you leave a comment, just type it below while I'm live and I will be able to see it. And if you want me to know who you are, who I'm speaking with, just use the link that's included here in the live so that Ecamm has permission to see your name that's on Facebook, because I'm using Ecamm right now. And the reason for that is if I have to do a screen share, I can do that with Ecamm. I can't do that with Facebook Live. So there are several questions. I'm just going to literally go through in order and address the questions that were asked. And hopefully, if you don't have any questions, hopefully you will still learn something from this live. I haven't done a live Q&A in quite a long time. And every time that I do, there's always a lot to be learned from your amazing questions. So Natalie asked, anxiety blends that work for me. So first of all, I don't know you. So if we had a private consultation, I would be able to ask you, are you on medications? Are you pregnant? Obviously how old you are, you're probably an adult, you're on Facebook. But there's different contraindications and or potential interactions that any given person can have, right? We're all different. We all have different situations. Some of us are pregnant, some of us have pets, some of us have young children. And some of us are on medications. So it's always a good idea to have all of that information before deciding which essential oils to use. So this is good information for you if you're trying to help a family member or a friend. This is good information for you if you are trying to even use it for yourself, that there's different things that you can be aware of before proceeding with essential oils. Now, there are a lot of essential oils that are in fact safe for everybody, meaning there's no minimum age to use, there's no worries if you're pregnant, there's no worries to use with dogs, there's no worries if you're on medications. So generally when I recommend essential oils, it's factoring in all of those things and making sure that the essential oils chosen are, number one, going to be effective for the issue, and number two, going to be safe for everybody. And that's how I manage to create and formulate family safe recipes that are inside of the club. Anxiety, I believe I have a free recipe on my website, which I'm going to verify. If not, then I will definitely answer your question. But just for those of you that want something to print out, yes. So if you go to leahjacobson.com and you scroll to the bottom, I'm going to give you the direct link as well, but just so everybody knows, right now I have free resources listed at the bottom of my website. So as I am creating more and more free resources for everybody, I probably will be switching that page over. But for right now, if you are watching this live or in the next probably couple of weeks, this is where you can find free resources. So these are resources that I actually do share on a pretty regular basis here inside of this group or on my public pages. And for some reason, Facebook does not show those as well. It does not push those to as many of you as like the posts about drama, or even the posts saying, like the other day, like yesterday, I think it was last night, I'm like, man, like the post that I shared about like the free aromatherapy tips or whatever, like does not get much reach. But the comment that I left about that got thousands and thousands and thousands of you to respond and interact. So you can go to, again, leahjacobson.com and scroll to the bottom for all of the free resources. There's quite a few. In addition to that, I'm going to post it right here in the feed so that you can get that anxiety and stress. Actually, I'm going to get a better link for you. If this is like a messy link, I want to get like the pretty link for you. Here we go. So it's leahjacobson.com/anxiety recipe. And I'm going to put it right there in the comments so that you can click on it. And it's the anxiety and stress diffuser recipe. So this is a recipe that's safe for all ages. It's safe if you have a dog in the room as well. So this is something that even if you're on medications, unless you have some unknown allergy, because some people, like they're allergic to chocolate, right? Some people are allergic to tea tree essential oil, even though that's not a known allergen, or other essential oils that are deemed to be safe for everyone. Some people have different reactions to things. So that is included for you there, Natalie. Thank you so much for your great question. And just so you know, so that is a free anxiety and stress diffuser recipe using 3 amazing essential oils that are really great for anxiety and stress. If you are looking for substitutions, I highly recommend the Pocket Aromatherapist app because you can quickly search for essential oils that are good for anxiety and come up with an entire list. I believe there's 78, 48 different ones in the Pro version. I'm just going to double check. So let me open that up. So it looks just like when it loads in 1 second. It looks just like this. And I'm going to show you. So on the right hand side, there's a little thing you can push. I can't explain it. It's a little like toggle button looking thing. And it's right on the right hand side. Right up there in the corner. Do you see that? And then you can click on filter. And then what I'm going to do is click add a condition. And then I'm going to do where health issues has any of anxiety and or stress. There. So I added that and I have, does it tell me how many results I have? So on my laptop, it actually will show me exactly how many results. I believe there's about 48 because I did look this up before. So you can see all of the different essential oils that are good for anxiety and stress. So then all you have to do is, if you have any known health issues, even if you're pregnant, even if you're breastfeeding, even if this is going to be used around a child with a minimum age, you can click that filter again and you can add, not only look for essential oils that are good for anxiety and stress. Do you see that on the bottom, anxiety and or stress? But you can click add condition, and then you can click on ages safe to inhale is all. And then that will give you all of the essential oils that are safe for all ages to inhale. And then if you have dogs in the room that you're going to be diffusing around, you can add dog safe, you can add pregnancy safe. If you're on blood thinners, you can add that information. And what it will do is it will present you with the essential oils that are helpful for anxiety and stress or whatever you're searching for, and then also safe for your situation. So I'm going to add that link for you as well if you are interested in that. It's a brand new app that is available, and it's super, super handy. So you can look for substitutions there. If you're already inside the club, you may not need the app because you can just ask me, and that is fine too. Skylar's asking, should I use perennial spray with essential oils in it after delivery? Are essential oils safe down there at any dilution? So as a general rule, you want to avoid using essential oils in sensitive areas. Now, it's always about risk versus benefit, right? So if you've been following me for a length of time, you know that generally I say don't ingest essential oils, right? But if you've been following me for a long time, you also know that there are a couple of situations in which using essential oils internally can be beneficial, and it's all about risk versus benefit. And I go through this inside of the course, and I have a podcast about it as well that you can find on iTunes. So it's always risk versus benefit. If this is just, see, how do I say this? It's just your average delivery, right? There's a lot of trauma in that situation, in that area, right? I went through childbirth naturally at home twice, one with a midwife, one without a midwife, one in water, one without water. So I get it. It can be painful. And what I've found is use remedies that have a long history of being super effective. Like, you don't have to use essential oils if herbs will work and if other natural solutions will work. Like, there's no need to jump to essential oils. So I would say for most cases, I would not use essential oils. I would use witch hazel on pads. You can freeze. You can wrap them in aluminum foil and freeze them. And then you can use those after delivery. They're very soothing. They work. You can use an herbal sitz bath as well. Very soothing. It works. There's no need to use essential oils. Now, there may be situations where there's enough trauma. Again, it's one of those, it's hard to give exact specific information that is general and also safe, because on the one hand, there's a lot of trauma in that area, so you want to be super gentle. Using essential oils that are highly concentrated may sting, may cause a lot of irritation. There's a lot of sensitivity. So I probably would not recommend essential oils. I would recommend hydrosols. I would recommend herbs. But I probably would not recommend essential oils. The only exception that I can think of potentially is helichrysum for bruising, but I would probably wait at least a week, probably 2 weeks, or until the area is more healed before using something like helichrysum essential oil. But in general, I would say no. Use hydrosols, use the herbs that we know work, use witch hazel. If you use the witch hazel with alcohol, it can sting, so be super careful. So hopefully that helps answer that question. So are essential oils safe down there at any dilution? Yes, they can be, as long as using them is more benefit than risk in that area. And I hope that makes sense. All right, I'm actually not looking for comments, so I don't know if anybody has Oh, here's a comment from Facebook user. Are the oils that can be diffused also be used topically or inhaled? So I was not checking my comments. I am assuming you're asking about the essential oils for anxiety and stress, or maybe just a general question. In the context of using essential oils for anxiety and stress, inhalation is going to be the most effective way for those essential oils to work. So essential oils, I know it's super common for rollers to be sold for issues where really inhalation is going to be the most effective way to use them. There's a lot of myths out there, a lot of recommendations that really aren't as effective, telling you to use essential oils up and down the spine, on the feet, roll it anywhere on the skin, roll it on your left big toe, all of these things, right? Where inhalation is going to be the most effective way. It's going to be the most effective method for most situations where it comes to limbic issues, emotional issues, anything that's not a visible skin issue or an under the skin issue, you want to inhale, generally speaking. And that's because as you're inhaling the essential oils, like, those molecules of essential oil are actually going to affect the limbic area of the brain as you are inhaling. So, I mean, there's a lot of science behind this. I go through this in the course. I show you pictures and everything of the nasal cavity and how the aromas that we smell can affect the limbic area of the brain and trigger emotions, whether good, whether bad. And so when it comes to things like anxiety, inhalation is going to be the most effective. And with a personal inhaler, you are getting those essential oils right up to the nose. If not, some of the inhalers you can actually insert into the nostril, and they're going to be very intense and very effective for those situations. If you are simply rolling essential oils on your skin, that brings up a host of potential adverse reactions. You have to make sure you're diluting it enough. If there's a topical max for that essential oil, you have to make sure that you're just diluting enough in general so that you aren't applying fully concentrated essential oils on the skin. And so it may not be enough of an aroma to really help with that anxiety or whatever that you're trying to help remedy. And so it's just not going to be as effective, and you're also risking potential skin irritation or other issues as well. So I highly recommend using a personal inhaler for any sort of emotional type issues, and even more than a diffuser. A diffuser is more ambient. It's something that you can kind of smell in the room, but it's generally not going to be as intense for that situation. Now, if you're just trying to calm your kids down before bed, a diffuser may be subtle enough to have that gentle effect. But if you're having, I don't want to say an anxiety attack, because I don't want anyone to think that essential oils can replace a medication that you may be on, although they are very effective for those situations depending on the person. But if you're suffering from anxiety and the essential oils have been proven to be helpful for you, that inhaler is going to be super, super effective. So I highly recommend that over using an essential oil topically. All right, great question. If you have any other questions, if you are here live, go ahead and throw those in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and read through the comments that were left earlier when I asked the question inside of the group. All right. So another question we had from Cheryl: where can I find your recommendations or suggestions for essential oils for pre-diabetics? So essential oils do not affect the blood sugar. They don't help to either lessen blood sugar numbers or, contribute to them. So essential oils are really not going to be helpful for this situation. So that's really not something that essential oils can be helpful for. That being said, there are certain medications that if you are consuming essential oils, there are certain medications that have an interaction with diabetes medication. So if you are on medication and you are consuming essential oils, there could be an interaction there. Let me just double check here, because there may be situations where there's interactions with diabetes medication and inhalation, but I don't believe so. So before I definitively state that, I want to make sure that I look that up. So give me one moment. And this is a good thing for you guys to see too, because although there is a lot of information that off the top of my head I can state to you, there are still some things that I want to make sure that I know. It's questions that I may not get all the time. So it's always a good idea to check your information, even if you think that you probably know, especially if you're recommending it to somebody else, because you want to make sure that you are being safe. All right. So, nope, there aren't any. All right, so I just wanted to make sure that I looked that up. Great question. Let me just check for comments again. Okay, I don't see any there. So I'm going to proceed to the next question. These are really, really good, because I know some of you are hopping on here and it's things you've never thought about before. It's like, oh, like I didn't have any questions, but I'm learning something, right? All right. Marjoram essential oil rubbed on the tummy for after pains and postpartum. Is it a safe oil to use, or would a hydrosol be to use? So hydrosols would be something that you could apply directly to the perineum or to any sort of trauma down in that area after childbirth. But if you're talking about tummy application, it would also depend on what sort of marjoram, which marjoram that it is. So let me just check my information here. I have, so for those of you that have the Pocket Aromatherapist, you can look up some of this information in there as well. I have kind of like a bigger database that I'm pulling from. It's the one that I share inside of the Academy, so I'm just opening that right now. All right, so there are 4 different marjorams that I have in my database. And so before I could tell you is that safe or not, I would need to know which one. Now, technically, all 4 are safe for use if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, and they're technically all 4 safe for adults as well. However, so there is a Spanish marjoram, a sweet marjoram, and then there's 2 different wild marjorams. There's one with a cavercrol chemotype and one with a linalool chemotype. And let me just make sure I have these right. And both of the wild ones do have a topical max. One of them has an interaction with blood thinners, so that probably would not be the one that I would recommend. And one has an interaction if you are also on diabetes medication and you are using it internally. So I would say avoid wild marjoram with a cavercrol chemotype just after childbirth because it is a blood thinner, so it's something to be aware of. And that is Oreganum marjorana, but it's specifically the chemotype of carvacrol. So if you are looking at your bottle and you are looking at Thymus masticina, that is going to be Spanish marjoram, and that one's going to be fine. Let me just double check to make sure there's no weird. No, okay, so that's fine. And then we have sweet marjoram. Now, sweet marjoram is the one that I recommend because it's safe for all ages, doesn't have a topical max, doesn't have any drug interactions or anything like that. But it's also Oreganum majorana, okay? So if your bottle doesn't specify which chemotype, you aren't going to know if it's the sweet marjoram or if it's the wild marjoram with a carvacrol chemotype or the linalool chemotype. All right, so make sure that your company gives you that information so that you know which one is safe. If you don't know, if they don't tell you which chemotype it is, often you can look at the GCMS report if they offer one, and you can look at the main constituents, and that will give you a clue as well. So just saying marjoram is not enough information. There's 4 different kinds and they have different kinds of safety. So this is why it's so important that you know the safety of the essential oils you're using, that you know what the botanical name is, but not just the botanical name. If there's a chemotype involved, and with marjoram, there is potentially different chemotypes. Not every essential oil has different chemotypes, but with marjoram, there are different chemotypes present or potential for options. So you want to make sure that you have that information so you aren't using the blood thinning one, right? In this case, it'd be one thing if all the different chemotypes were safe anyway, but in this situation, one of them is a blood thinner, and after childbirth, that is not something that you want to probably use. All right. Is there an essential oil? I'm seeing your comments here. Is there an essential oil to help with varicose or spider veins? Yes. Cypress essential oil is really good for varicose veins or spider veins. I do have recipes for that inside of the club. And so if you are a member, you can hop on in there and click on recipes inside of the tab and then click circulatory. It would be under there and you can check out that recipe right there. All right, so let me go ahead to the next question. This is from Steph. What are the differences between your book and your course? So that is a really good question. I did happen to see this question this morning, so I was able to grab my book. So this is the book that Steph is asking about, and it's called Using Essential Oils Safely. And I do have a course as well. So this you can find at leahjacobson.com/book. And you can also find my course at leahjacobson.com/course. Now, the difference between the book and the course. The book is physical, like you can actually hold it in your hands. I do sign them and mail them to you. There also is an ebook version. The course has more information. So the course has, so for example, I'll give you a good example here. This is actually a really good example. So module 1, by the way, is free. So if you are curious about the course, if you aren't really sure what the learning style is, like what kind of information is in it, you can actually sign up for the first module, which is free. And it's all about the introduction to essential oils. And I go kind of deep. It's not just like essential oils aren't herbs. Like I kind of go into more information than that, and you get the whole first module for free. And there's a lot of information there. I talk about what essential oils are, how they're made, do they last forever, and spoiler, they don't. What makes them go bad, the estimated shelf life, and then how to tell if they've gone bad, what to do, and how to make them last longer. So that is a really good tip. This tip on how to make your essential oils last longer can make that very expensive bottle of frankincense last long enough to use it all up before it goes bad. So for free, again, module 1 is free, leahjacobson.com/course. You can get that tip and make your very expensive bottle of frankincense last longer. So I'm going to give you an example of the differences between the book and the course in one moment. I'm just going to add these links here for you so that you can check it out. I do have some print books left, so while supplies last, you can actually get some print books. I don't have them available year-round, so get them while you can. And oh, by the way, the course is free for club elites. So if you enroll in the club as an elite, you get the course for free. So just an option for you if you want that. All right, so here's a very good example. In the book, I give the estimated shelf life for popular essential oils, right? And this is all free. You can find this in module 1. So I have some essential oils down here. I have the shelf life, and I have some listed here. So there's like what, a dozen essential oils with estimated shelf life from 2 years to 10 years. And I give you that information here. Now, inside the book, I actually point you to the club because until I added it to the course, so it's not in the book, but inside of the course, you can actually download 240 essential oils and what the shelf life is for all of them. So inside of the book, I give you examples of shelf life. And then inside of the course, you actually get all of the essential oils, 240 of them. That's a lot of them. And the shelf life for all of that. So I don't have room for 240 essential oils here, but I do have downloads so that you can print them off inside of the course. So anywhere inside of the book where you see for more information, join the club, or for more information, buy my other book, or whatever, you actually get those full lists right inside of the course. So there's a lot more information in there. So again, module 1 is free, so you guys get all of that for free. And the cool thing is you can actually print that off. You can go through your essential oils. You can know, what essential oils that you probably need to use up more quickly than others because they've expired or about to expire. There's information on what you can do with your essential oils if you think that they might have expired, and all of that. So it's a really, really good for free. Like I should totally sell it, right? But there's a lot of information on really understanding and respecting essential oils because essential oils are powerful, right? That's why we use them. And they're super concentrated and they're very effective and they work, but they do have a shelf life, contrary to popular thought. I know there are some brands out there that do like to state that essential oils do last forever, because then we feel better about spending $70, $90 on a bottle of essential oil. But that's actually not the case. All right. Another question that Steph had is, are all hydrosols safe to ingest? That is a great question. I believe there were 1 or 2 hydrosols that aren't recommended for ingestion. I'm actually going to look that up right now. So inside of the club, I do have, and you'll hear me refer to the club every so often because that's where all of my best stuff is, right? There's all the things inside of the club. I do believe there might have been one or two that weren't recommended for ingesting, and they were essential oils that are pretty uncommon. Let's see. Yes, here's one right here. I found it. Okay, so for those of you who are inside of the club and had no idea this information was there, so inside of the club, click the hydrosols tab, and then click the Y hydrosols class and downloads. And you can find on page 2, it says, if you have cancer, you will want to avoid consuming bay laurel or bay leaf. And if you have kidney disease, it is best to avoid consuming cypress, juniper berry, and goldenrod. And if you are pregnant, it's best to avoid consuming cypress, cornflower, juniper berry, Greenland moss, also known as Labrador tea, sweet gale, also known as bog myrtle, rosemary, and sage. So for the most part, I don't recommend ingesting hydrosols. There are many that you can. The ones that I mentioned, most of those aren't very common. Cypress and juniper berry are more common. Rosemary is more common as well. But some of those other ones you may not even be able to find. But there are a lot of a lot of hydrosols, and some of them you can consume. So for the most part, you can. With the exception of those few, I would recommend not consuming. So just like anything, know the safety of what you are consuming. Steph also asked, what are 3 of your favorite oils? How and why do you use them? That is a great question. Let me just hop on over to here to see if there's anybody here live. Somebody just said, just jumped on the live and we'll catch the replay for missed information. Awesome. And if you have any questions and you are here live watching me, feel free to jump in the chat and ask me. Steph's question from earlier when I posted and said I was going to go live is, what are your 3 favorite oils? How and why do you use them? I would say helichrysum is my #1 favorite essential oil. It is amazing for any sort of skin issues like bruising, bumps, any sort of skin blemishes. It is really, really amazing for that. I mean, I've literally seen, there's a YouTube video of me. I just came in the house I was getting out of my car and I quickly turned to grab something and bumped my head on the rim of my car. I've never done that before. I think it only happened so that I'd have a really good example to show you. So I had a bump on my head, so I ran in, I went live, I applied the helichrysum to my bump, and you could see within a few minutes, you could see the lump go down. Now, I've had better examples that, of course, I didn't record, but it is absolutely amazing. So when you can visually see something like a bump go down, or like redness on your skin from hitting it like start to fade away to nothing, it is really, really amazing. So that would be my favorite essential oil, helichrysum. What's another favorite essential oil? I would say tea tree would probably be my second favorite essential oil because it is antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral. It's great for killing germs, and it's safe for all ages. It's safe to use around dogs. So unlike some of the anti-germ blends that contain a lot of skin irritants and blood thinners, I love using tea tree. It has a really good history, very good evidence if you go to PubMed, lots of good evidence of it killing all sorts of germs, mold, fungus, you name it. And I love using it in cleaning sprays. And then I would say lemon would be probably my third favorite, and used with tea tree. So I call them the dynamic duo, tea tree and lemon for cleaning. Between the two of them, like, they're both antimicrobial. They're just amazing essential oils, and they're safe for everybody. They're safe for use around everyone. So instead of using essential oils that are super harsh and kill germs and aren't safe to use around your kids or yourself or your pets, why not use something safe and effective, right? Lemon is also great for boosting energy. It smells really good. So I guess those would be 3 of my favorite essential oils, but of course I have a few others too, but those would be my 3 most commonly used essential oils as well. All right. Let's see. Suzanne is asking a question. For someone on a limited budget, is it better to get the guides bundle or the app? Based on the free version of the app, the guides look as if they have way more information. I don't know if the free version shows all the stuff the paid versions do, though. All right, so let's talk about the guides, then we're going to talk about the app. We'll talk about the pros and cons and the benefits of, what each of them have. Actually, it probably just so happens that I'm sitting right next to my guides, so that's good. So let me show you one. All right, let's just do the guide to allergies since it's right on top. All right, so when Suzanne is asking about the guides, and this is something that I'm posting about every day for the next now 8 days because the guides are phasing away. Okay, so this is a guide, and the reason why these are phasing out is because the app is way more easy to use. The guides are focused on one topic, but the guides do have a little bit more of a list of essential oils because these are taken from like the top 240 essential oils. So those of you that have the essential oils safety files, all of the essential oils good for allergies are in here from that top 240. The Pocket Aromatherapist goes by 120 essential oils. And in fact, you actually get the therapeutic properties for 60, which is a lot. Most people don't even need 60 essential oils. So it really depends on how thorough of information that you want. But the guide, so like the guide to allergies, it gives you some essential oils, of course. It gives you all of the top essential oils that are helpful for allergies. So this is usually about a 3-star, 3, 4, or 5 stars. So if the essential oil is like a 3, 4, or 5 stars, good for allergies, it's in this list. All right. I do have some of them marked with a star, and that indicates 5 out of 5 stars, at least 4.5 out of 5 stars. So there's several of those marked with a star. So if you have one of those that are marked with a star, I would suggest using those for allergies. It gives you the safety, so you can see these icons here. Let me see if I can get any closer. It gives you the safety icons here so that you know, well, these are base notes over here. Steam distilled from wood. These are all the cedar woods. It's safe for all ages to inhale. It's safe for pregnancy and not safe for dogs, this particular cedar wood. So it does give you the safety here. It gives you the botanical names, the main constituents here, and it gives you the how to use it. So you can see here, these are antihistamine essential oils. That's why they're included in the guide to allergies. And I do give you exactly how to use them. I tell you to inhale them. I tell you how many drops to add to an inhaler, a diffuser, or an aroma pendant. And then you have all of these essential oils to pick from, and you can check the safety as well. You have a spot to write down your particular recipe that you may have used. And then, of course, I have this legend here so that you can understand all the little icons and what they mean. Because if there's any that are blood thinning, or whatnot, then I have that information there. Rosemary camphor, for example, I let you know that it may be neurotoxic, contraindications of epilepsy, etc. Now, in the Pocket Aromatherapist, you can also search for all of the essential oils out of the top 120. In fact, 60 of them are flagged for benefits and therapeutic properties. Then you get another 60 that also have the safety with them. But with the Pocket Aromatherapist, you can not only search for allergies, but you can search for a ton of other health issues as well. So as long as you have, one or more of the 60 most common essential oils, my best bet would be to recommend the Pocket Aromatherapist, because you can search for way more things. You can not only search for allergies and the best essential oils for allergies, but you can search for tons of other things, right? So that's what I would personally recommend. If you have a particular issue where you just really want to know like every single last essential oil, and you don't mind having some of the less known essential oils included as well. For example, there's like 6 different spruces here. There's several different pines here. Like, do you really need to have all of those? I don't know. It depends. It depends on you. But the one thing the guides do have that the Pocket Aromatherapist does not is exactly how to use it and how many drops and all of that. So it really depends on what your exact needs are. I would, again, probably recommend the Pocket Aromatherapist. Now, if you are worried that you aren't going to know how to use them, then I would recommend opting for the $10 a month Pick Leah's Brain feature that you can add on once you purchase the Pocket Aromatherapist. So that eliminates the need to join the club just to talk to me or whatever. So if you just want that security and knowing that I can reach out to Leah at any time and ask her a question about what to do with this information or exactly how to use it, then that's what I would do. The Pocket Aromatherapist tells you exactly which essential oils that you need to use for what issues. But if you want to know an exact recipe, then join the club or opt for the add-on $10 a month Pick Leah's Brain. And that is only available through the app. I do not have that available. Like, I have never sold my services solo ever. So $10 a month to have me basically on call is a bit of a no-brainer if you are purchasing the app and you're not already inside of the club. All right. And by the way, so just to further answer Suzanne on the free version versus the paid version, yeah, so the free version, I specifically chose them because they don't have interactions or contraindications. So if you are using the free version of Pocket Aromatherapist, which you can access by going to leahjacobson.com/PA, and you can request the free version over there, you will see that there's a lot of blank squares in the contraindications and interactions areas, but you will have all of the safety and all of the profiles there, okay? And that is because they're safe for everybody. So there's not going to be contraindications and there's not going to be interactions, with the exception of lemon and bergamot that do have a topical max because of phototoxicity. But the fuller version is going to have a lot more of those filled in. All right, great question. All right, if you are here live, I am just going over different questions that people have asked in the group this morning when I let you all know that I was going to be going live. So I'm just going through all of those questions and answering those for you right now. If you are on right now and you are watching and you have a question, then I would like to get to your question first, and then I'll go through the other ones, okay? All right. There is a question here. Do you have any recipes or oils that you recommend for snoring? So here's the thing. Essential oils probably are not going to help for snoring. There's different reasons why people snore. It could be dry air. It could be a lot of weight on the throat if you were laying on your back. Some people notice that if they lose weight, then that eliminates the snoring. If they run a humidifier, that eliminates the dryness. There could be different reasons for that. I would also look into like the quality of sleep. Sometimes if you don't have a good quality of sleep, you can snore as well. So essential oils generally, like, there's no essential oil for snoring. There's no essential oil that has a therapeutic property for snoring. So I really can't help with that. But if there's a snoring issue because somebody can't relax or somebody was unable to relax and then they totally just finally fell asleep because they were so exhausted and they're snoring, there can be essential oils that are helpful for sleep. So I do have those recipes, of course, inside of my club. That's where all of the recipes are. Right now, I have very few free recipes, but you can find them at leahjacobson.com and then scroll to the bottom. I don't have any sleep recipes over there, but I do have a recipe for fatigue. Not the same, they aren't sedative essential oils, but that might be helpful, and that is a free resource. And I do have information on sleep as far as which essential oils are going to be helpful for sleep inside of Pocket Aromatherapist. So all you have to do, and I showed this on the live earlier, you just pop open the app, you click the filter, and then you add the condition for insomnia. And then all of the essential oils for insomnia are going to show up for you, and then you can use those essential oils. I would recommend creating a linen spray out of them, or using a personal inhaler, or maybe running the diffuser a little bit. As mentioned previously in this live, personal inhalers are much more effective than diffusing, so that would be what I would recommend. All right, one more. Would you provide recipes as part of the Pick Leah's Brain membership? Yes. So that's what I do, is I answer questions about, okay, so I searched for recipes for sleep and I have these 4 essential oils. How would you recommend that I mix them? How would you recommend that I use them? And I will help you come up with a solution for that. So that's what I do for you in there. And this is just a test right now. I may end up taking that feature away if it becomes too much. But for right now, it is an option for just the $10 a month in conjunction with the Pocket Aromatherapist app, so that you can get that little bit added information. I really recommend joining the club, like I seriously do, because there's thousands of dollars worth of resources in there, and you only have to join for a month and then you can cancel if you want to. But there's a lot of information in there. There's ready-made recipes in there, but absolutely the Pick Leah's Brain membership add-on to the Pocket Aromatherapist, that's what I do. I answer those types of questions. And then any clarification questions, of course, like, is this okay because I'm on medication, or what do I do because I have a dog in the room, or, any sort of questions like that, I do provide answers for. All right. Again, those of you who are live, you guys get priority and I will be answering your questions. And otherwise, I'm going to switch over to my other tab and answer questions that were left earlier inside of the group. Joyce was asking where the recipe for mosquito repellent is. Hopefully this will keep the tiny little monster gnats off too. Yes, so on my website, leahjacobson.com, if you scroll down to the bottom, that's where all the free resources are. And that includes the tick off, bug off recipe. So I will be including that link right here. It's leahjacobson.com/TOBO. And this is a recipe that I formulated several years ago. Thousands and thousands of you have downloaded it and used it, and it works really well. It's good for ticks. It's good for bugs. It's safe for kids and dogs. And so it's a really good one to have on hand. All right. Another question I received was, Claudia, best essential oils for sleep. So I did kind of touch on that a moment ago, but I would say sedative essential oils rather than calming essential oils. And I would say cedarwood is probably the number one best sedative for sleep. I do like to mix it with orange and vanilla. You can mix it with lavender if you want to. I don't generally recommend lavender for sleep, and I know that might surprise some of you, but lavender is not a sedative. It can be calming, but it's notorious for having the opposite effect on people. And that's generally because people use too much of it. It's like you really want your kids to sleep, so you're diffusing it for 2 hours before bed. and they're bouncing off the walls. Another reason for that is because there are several different kinds of lavender, and some of them are stimulating, like Spanish lavender and spike lavender. So you want to make sure that you are using Bulgarian or French lavender in a very small amount, but preferably you are using sedatives, not calming essential oils. And so cedarwood, sandalwood, vetiver are some of the top sedative essential oils for sleep. Rachel's asking about cats. Now, I don't know exactly what question, but I will answer what I know most people ask about cats is which essential oils are safe, and the answer is none of them are safe. Cats do lack the enzyme required to metabolize essential oils. So I do not recommend using essential oils around cats. We've had this discussion a lot in the group previously. Many members have had to have their cats put down within a couple of weeks, if not a couple of days of diffusing. And then you'll have a couple of other members say, well, I've been diffusing for a long time and there's no issue. So I would say do not diffuse around your cat. And it's not just because some people in the group have had, or a lot of people in the group have had to put down their cats. They simply lack the enzyme required to metabolize the essential oils. I do have a download for that. It's a free download if you go to leahjacobson.com. And then I also have the direct link as well. leahjacobson.com/cats, EOS. And you can download that information and you can print it out and you can share it with those who have cats. But it's very important to be careful when you are using essential oils with your cats. Preferably you are not diffusing because your cats can inhale. Now, there is information in that download that talks about if you're, just leave the door open, the cat will leave the room. Same with diffusing with dogs. And the thing is, they don't always. They don't know. It's just like leaving it up to your kid to leave the room if there's an unsafe essential oil diffusing. They simply don't know. That's just not intuitive. So please take the responsibility for your animals and, of course, your children, and make sure that you are diffusing safe essential oils around them and with cats to not to diffuse if they're in the same room. All right, there is a question here. Where do you recommend we get our oils? So we get all the chemotype, etc. information that you recommend we have, so we know that we're using the correct stuff. There are several different companies that do provide this information, and in fact, more and more companies are. And that really stemmed from our third-party testing that we did 10 years ago, where we were able to reveal what the true quality was for different brands of essential oil. Our first testing we did was for myrrh, and we tested Orocacia, Mountain Rose Herbs, Essential Vitality, which a homeschool mom, that was her brand, and then, of course, doTERRA and Young Living. And the results we found was the $15 bottle of Orocacia myrrh tested just as high quality as the $70 and $90 bottles of doTERRA and Young Living. So it's not about how much you're spending for essential oils. There's lots of brands out there that are actually have decent quality. We went on to do 2 more testing, one for tea tree and one for peppermint, and I was getting very similar results. Most essential oil brands out there are going to be fine for you to use. Now, I don't recommend using really inexpensive essential oils from like Target or Marshalls or TJ Maxx, or if you're getting a 3-pack and it's like lavender, frankincense, and lemon and it's $5.99, don't do it. It's not going to be good stuff. So don't get me wrong, you want to make sure that you are getting decent stuff, but a lot of the companies out there that have been around for a while are probably going to be just fine. That being said, there have been companies that have had a bad batch once in a while. I mean, Plant Therapy, they sent out emails saying, oops, we just caught this batch, after they shipped it to a bunch of customers, which is why you're supposed to test first. But every company will have a bad batch of something. But for the most part, you can do well with a lot of different brands. I do talk about brands inside the course module too. I do like Oracacia. You can get them right off of Amazon. And there's a few others that I like as well. But find the companies that provide for you all of the information so that you do know what you are getting. Aromatics International is a really good brand for providing all of that information, and no companies are perfect. I'm not exclusive to any brands. I like using Florahana through Tropical Traditions. I like using Oracacia right on Amazon. I buy from Eden's Garden, Eden Botanicals, wing sets. Like, there's several different brands out there. I buy Now essential oils for cleaning. Like, there are several different brands out there depending on what your purpose is as well. So just make sure the company that you are purchasing from is providing all of the information that you need. So again, Aromatics International is really good about providing that information. Plant Therapy provides pretty good information. They do leave out a lot of contraindications though, such as they don't have essential oils flagged for blood thinning, things like that, which I feel is pretty unsafe. But if you're talking about chemotypes and botanical names, I believe they do have that information, as well as Eden's Garden usually has that information. You can, with some digging, find that information with doTERRA and Young Living as well. I personally find it difficult to find it on their regular public page, but I do know there are some users inside of the club and inside of the community that do have accounts with them that they're able to kind of dig deeper and find out that information in a different maybe area and try to find that information out. So it's kind of good to know like the essential oils that do have chemotypes so that you can keep an eye out for that, and you can know, okay, not every essential oil has a potential chemotype, but what ones are. So marjoram potentially has chemotypes. Rosemary has chemotypes. Hyssop and thyme have chemotypes. There's different ones that have chemotypes. And it can be a little bit complicated at first, but once you start looking around and you have that information, just keep good track. Like when I started out using Excel for a spreadsheet. Since then, I've graduated to Airtable, and that's what I'm sharing with you guys inside the Pocket Aromatherapist and using STAR inside of the Academy. It's a very good database to keep track of that information because there is a lot of information to know. Or, grab a resource that you trust, ask people that you trust for that information as well that have already done the work for you. All right. Great question. Let me just go back over here to the thread where I was asking questions, or was asking for your questions, and make sure I didn't miss any because I think I got them all. So if those of you that are here live now have any questions, please go ahead and jump on, because if I don't see any more questions, then I can get off. I know there aren't a whole lot of you here. I've been live for an hour. Facebook does not like to show you guys. There's been a handful of you here. There's 178,000 members in the group, and Facebook is like, nobody needs to know she's live. Like, I'm just literally here ready to answer all of your questions, and Facebook is like, nope. Unless you're going to be talking or posting about drama, nobody needs to know. I'm guys, because I know I get questions sometime like, why is this group always full of drama? And it's like, it actually isn't. Every once in a while there's a post that goes crazy, but for the most part we're just in here sharing information, tagging you guys, and answering your questions. You are very welcome. You are very welcome. All right, so I'm not seeing any more questions. I am going to open up my email because I think I had one over there. I think there was one that I did answer though. Yes, so I already answered that one, and it's going to continue to load here in a second. I get so many emails, it's not even funny. So by the way, if you do email me and I don't answer, that's why. because I get so many emails and I can only focus my attention inside of the club or the academy or whatever. Like, people are paying for my advice and I can't always give it away for free, but I do answer some emails, and of course I'm here live answering you now. All right, so I'm not seeing any more questions. Thanks for chatting. I hope you learned something. If you are watching the replay, so if you missed me live and you're watching the replay, and if you have a question, then please leave it. And if I see it, I can type you back a response. If you are watching this and something was helpful, let me know what was helpful. Like, I would really like to know what questions that you thought were really good, what information was helpful for you, and that will help me too. All right? So I hope you all have a great day. See ya.